Okay. So if I take a look at number 61, 61 said I have 4/3 times r minus 3 is less than r plus 2/3 minus 1/3. Now, because these two over here, that 2/3 minus 1/3 are the same denominator and they're on the same side, I could go ahead and just simplify that right now, or I can clear fractions right now. It doesn't make a difference. I'm going to go ahead and add those right now because that's super easy to do. Alright, so now I'm going to use clearing fractions. What number should I multiply everything by to clear my fractions? Nick? Yeah, I would do 3. I mean, you could do 6. It's just going to make for bigger numbers. Don't forget to multiply the r by 3, and that, I did adding the opposite, that negative 3 by 3 as well. That's usually the mistake that I see, is that when people are clearing fractions, they only multiply the fractions by that multiple, not everything. But you have to multiply everything. So my 3's divide out. If you guys did not do clearing fractions, I do want you doing this right now. Just off to the side, redo the problem clearing fractions so you get used to it. Because it is a tool that I think can be really helpful. So I have 4r plus negative 9 is less than 3r plus 1. If you're on the high school placement test and you're given this, clearing fractions will make it considerably easier, 3r, because now that I have this equation with no fractions in it, you can kind of do the rest of this mentally. You know, you can be like, oh, I'm just going to add negative 3 to each side, so I get 1r. I'm going to add 9 to each side, which gives me 10, so r is less than 10. And you've done it mentally. But doing a mental math with fractions isn't quite as easy. All right, so I would definitely get used to when you can use clearing fractions and using it. Well, they have 5 1/2. What did I do wrong here? Oh, I know. I see it. Thank you, you guys. Let me do this. I forgot the r, so let me redo it. Somebody, that would have been good for somebody to point out a little earlier. All of you. So you guys, if you see me make a mistake, correct me right away, please. So I think this is 1/3 r, isn't it? Well, that makes a big difference. So let me go back through this again. I'm going to multiply everything by 3/1. You guys, don't be shy about correcting me if I'm doing something wrong, please. So I have 4r plus negative 9 is less than 3r plus 2 plus r. That makes more sense. Alright, so now I have 4r plus negative 9 is less than 3r plus r plus 2. Why do I feel like I still have something wrong here? You guys checking this for me? Multiply this by 3, that gives me a 4r. Multiply this by 3, I get my negative 9. Multiply this by 3, I get 3r. Multiply this by 3, I just get 2. Multiply this by 3, I get 1r. Do you guys agree with this? Okay. Oh, I know what this is. This should be a plus a negative. Okay. That's what threw me off. I lost my sign. How do I know that why do I, knowing the answer, why did I know that I did that wrong? If this was a positive r. Sam, look at it. Everyone look at the board. Knowing that the answer was 5r is less than 5 1/2. How do I know I did that wrong? How do I know I made a mistake? Talk to someone sitting by you. How do I know that I made a mistake? Do some mental math on this. Do some mental math on that and tell me how I know I did something wrong. What's 3r plus 1r? What's 3r plus 1r, Matthew? 4r. So if I have 4r, positive 4r on one side, positive 4r on the other. When you go to solve that, what happens to my 4r's? They cancel out. And this was not a no solution. So I know I did that wrong. So I'm just making sure that I did that right now. So there I have my negative. So I have 4r plus negative 9 is less than 2r plus 2. So now I have plus a negative 2r. So I have 2r plus negative 9 is less than 2. I'm going to add 9 to both sides, and I have 2r is less than 11. Now I got to divide both sides by 2. 11 divided by 2, that's going to be a 5 and 1/2. So r is less than 5 and 1/2. If you have to make a decision between a fraction and a decimal, leave it as a fraction. What else can I do for you guys? Isabella? 14? Sure. Chris, where's your homework? Alright, so you're going to look at what we're doing. All of you are looking at 14. I have negative 6 times b minus 2 is greater than 0. Why is this one tricky? Why is that one tricky? Because it is tricky. Chris? Thank you. Excellent. That negative means I have negative 1 times that everything in those parentheses. So by all means, throw that 1 in there, that negative 1. When there's just a negative by itself multiplied by something, that means it's negative 1. So you're right, I have negative 1 times 6b, which is negative 6b, minus negative 1 times 2, which is negative 2, is greater than 0. I'm going to do adding the opposite here. So I'm going to add a negative 2 to both sides. So I have negative 6b is greater than negative 2. So Isabel, are you good with that? Nope. So I have subtraction here. So I have minus a negative 2, which is plus positive. I didn't do adding the opposite right away. You can see how doing adding the opposite right away is more beneficial, isn't it? It's kind of easier to see, so do that right away if you want to. So I have negative 6. I'm going to divide each side by negative 6. What does that mean, Isabel, to do with my inequality symbol? Why? Excellent. So I'm going to flip that. Well, negative by negative is a positive. And this is going to be a positive 1/3. Are you cool with that? Okay. What else can I do for you guys? Well, for those of you that are like off in the distance with these distance stares because you're not wanting to ask any questions or you're totally zoned out, that is really too bad because you do have a homework quiz.